How do you choose the right NAICS codes for your business? Well, that's exactly what we're going to decode and talk about today. How to choose the right NAICS codes, what it is, how to use it, and then how you can make sure that you have the right NAICS code that's going to make sure that you get the most amount of financing and credit for your business. So what are NAICS codes? Well, NAICS stands for North American Industry Classification System. And this basically exploded in the late 90s, early 2000s, right? Where all of these new industries were popping up that the SIG system just couldn't support, right? So basically the US, Mexico, and Canada, they came up with a standard system, a standard classification system, and it accounts for all of these newer businesses that were formed, right? So basically what it does is it defines businesses based on their primary activities, right? So it looks at how businesses are operating, how many businesses are operating within their sector. So, for example, it's going to look at what you do if you're an off-road trucker, if you're a transportation company, and it's going to basically narrow it down, right? Narrow it down to exactly what it is that you do. So why is this important, right? Well, NAICS code is basically, it's a 6-digit identifier, right? That identifier is what a lot of organizations use to be able to determine what industry you're in. So it's used by industries like the SEC, like the federal government, and even the IRS. And for example, the IRS, if you're in transportation or if you're in trucking, right, then they're going to look at your expenses. They're going to compare you to other companies in your industry, and they're going to look at what your risk profile is, right? So if your number is a little bit too high, if it's a little too low or way like out of the norm, then those are the kind of things that could trigger something called an audit, right? It's a red flag for their systems. So these are the kind of things to be aware of. These entities, these organizations are all looking at NAICS codes, guys. So what do lenders and credit issuers want to see? Well, this is one of the things that they want to see, right? So basically, before they look at your financial statements, before they look at your credit profile, before they look at your utilization, right? Before they look at how you manage your debt, before they look at all of your inquiries, your tax returns, your bank statements, banks and credit issuers, they care about two things, right? They care about your ability to pay them back and your willingness to pay them back. But before they even examine all of this stuff, right? You know what they're going to look at first? They're going to look at your foundation, right? And NAICS code is part of that, okay? So before they check that, they're going to check what industry you're in, and that's going to determine if you're going to be a high risk or a low risk borrower, right? Are you a high risk or a low risk business owner? And so that, guys, is what we're talking about today. So we're going to do a deep dive to determine which one you should choose and why you should choose it. Well, who looks at NAICS codes? Well, lenders and credit issuers are looking at them. And they're going to put you in two buckets if they think that you're high risk. And so this could mean, one, right, that you're going to be deemed what they call facing greater scrutiny. Okay, so basically what that means, guys, is they're going to take a more stringent underwriting approach, right? They're going to have more strict guidelines when they're looking at your applications. It's much harder for you to get approved this way. And if you do get approved, then you're typically going to get approved for worse terms. Or they put you in a restricted or prohibited industry. Now, if you get put in this category, this is a no-go. You're basically not, cut off from this funding, from that funding source altogether. An example of a company or an industry that's basically considered restricted or prohibited would be the marijuana industry. Now, while it's legal statewide, there's still some gray area federally. So this makes it one of the more challenging ones because especially if you're in the marijuana industry, then you probably know that you've been deemed restricted and you can be automatically denied. It's also used by the business credit reporting agencies. They're looking at your overall risk, guys. Okay, so they're comparing you. So if you're in a higher risk industry, they're going to compare you to other higher risk industries. What does that mean for you? Well, that means you're going to get higher interest rate, lower approval terms because your NAICS code is in a high risk industry. Also, it's used by the bureaus for comparison scores, okay? They have something called comparison scores. We touched on this a little bit earlier, how they're going to compare you to other businesses in your industry. So, for example, they're taking your data, the data that you're already providing it, and they're already your overall data, and they're comparing that with other companies in your industry. So basically, if you're a restaurateur, guys, okay, they're going to look at your information, right? Your own personal profile, and then they're going to take a look at your industry. So they're going to assess you against other companies. And they're going to look at your taxes, right? Remember that. And they're going to look at your expenses, and then they're going to compare. Insurance companies also look at this as well to determine the rates and terms and also the premium that you'll pay, guys. Investors is another thing. Now, if you're looking to sell your company one day, right, you want to 10x it, when you're going to do your valuation, you need to make sure that you know what your NAICS code is. It's going to be different if you have a software company versus if you have a trucking company or a solar company or a wellness company or a medical company, medical supply company. It's going to be different, right? So make sure that you're identifying yourself based on the the variables of the industry that you're in. Now, there's going to be other factors, right? When we're seeking investments like product market fit, the numbers or projections of everything else is in place, right? So that's just one thing to keep aware of. Government contracts. Government contracts are looking at your NAICS code. So if you're out there and you're pursuing government contracts, this is a goal of yours, make sure that you're selecting the right NAICS code. So guys, having the right NAICS code is essential to making sure that you're being seen the way that you want to be seen by the lenders and the credit issuers that you're applying with. This is how they're going to be able to give you more money. Now, the biggest mistake I see a lot of new businesses make is number one, this is number one biggest mistake. They're not choosing their NAICS code, right? They're letting somebody else choose it for them. This is the biggest mistake you could make, guys. So if you're going to a bank and they ask you, hey, what's your NAICS code? And you don't know, well, then that's going to be a problem because they're going to just issue one, right? And one of two things can happen if you get denied, if you get the wrong code. One, you're going to get denied. Or two, you're going to get approved for a much lower amount. So say you're going to get approved for 25,000 instead of that 25,000. Now you might only be getting the 2,000 because of the NAICS code that they chose for you. And guys, I'm assuring you 9 times out of 10, if they choose for you, they're going to choose either the wrong one or a high risk industry that probably doesn't even apply to you. So let's unpack how to choose and what to choose based on what industry that we're in. So I get this question all the time. Hey, Dominique, I'm in accounting. Hey, Dominique, I have a cleaning service, a cleaning company. Hey, Dominique, I have a consulting company. Hey, Dominique, I have a film production company. Hey, Dominique, I have a real estate company. I have a transportation company. What is my NAICS code going to be? And guys, remember, we talked about this. You want to be really, really careful. You never want to let anybody choose it for you. So make sure that you're spending your time and you're doing your research, you're committing to putting some thought into this part of the process. One of the best places that you could go to is NAICS.com. And I'll have the link down there in the description. But go to NAICS.com. You can do a free search because say, for example, you're in transportation, right? You don't want to let them pick that for you because if you go to NAICS.com, you search up transportation, you can see that there's 100 different subcategories within transportation. So make sure that you are going to NAICS.com and you are doing your research. How do you avoid high-risk NAICS codes? We can easily do a Google search, guys, and look for high-risk NAICS codes. I've even got a list of high-risk NAICS codes. Head on over to the blog. We've got a full list there. And I've also got another list that I could just send you directly. Go ahead and send me an email, and I'll send that right out to you. But how do you want to avoid the high-risk NAICS codes? Well, first, you start by going to that NAICS.com, right? But you also, remember, you don't want to lie and you don't want to mislead, okay? You never want to lie, you never want to mislead, you always want to be upfront. What I'm saying here, guys, is you can be multiple. You can be more than one category, right? So for example, Domino Effects Group, right? You could easily say that we are an education company because of all of the free content that we provide here on the channel and then on our website. And if you go and check us out there, you could easily say we're an education company. But you could easily also say that we're a financial services company because we offer, credit and financing services through our company. But you could also say that we're a software company because we have software that our clients utilize through our business finance suite. So those are, as you can see, we could operate within multiple categories. Here's where we've got to do some thinking, right? Now, I don't want to classify myself as financial services because financial services is deemed as high risk. Education, sure, okay, but I'm thinking of multiples, right? Okay, so this is why I've chosen to go with software. And so think about this. What is going to give you the best multiple? And also, guys, I have a link to some high-risk NAICS codes. Head on over to the blog. It's over there. If you need a list so that you can cross-reference and make sure that the code that you're looking at doesn't fall into that category, then you want to make sure that you're picking that up. Now, how do you use this code once you have it? Well, first of all, you want to make sure that you have it on all of your tax returns. So make sure that you get with your accountant, make sure that he's putting it on all of your tax returns and filing it and it's being filed exactly as it should be. Make sure that if your business credit reports are established, that everything is matching across the board. So go out there and pull your business credit reports, okay? Make sure. And if it is wrong, then you need to connect with all three bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and Dun & Bradstreet, and make sure that you get those fixed right away. Make sure that your bank knows as well, because guys, the bank is sharing your information. The bank is part of this entity called the Small Business Financial Exchange, where basically they're sharing all of your data. All of our data is being shared on the back end. So by the way, business credit reporting agencies, they're also vendors, members of, this Small Business Financial Exchange. So your information is out there in the open. So make sure that it is matching across the board, because if it doesn't, they're going to look at it and they're going to go, oh, okay, you have this, you says one thing over here, and now it says one thing over here. And we don't like that. And it's going to automatically trigger a red flag in their system, and it's an automatic denial. Once you've done this, you make sure that you're applying under the right NAICS codes, then this should also go very smoothly once you have it set up correctly. Going into and starting your business. Now, when you're starting your business, or even if you're already established and you have to revisit your NAICS code, make sure that choosing the right one and you have the right name, you're going to be good to go, right? So don't overthink the process, guys. Head on over, use these reference tools, cross-reference, right, what you're looking at, avoid high-risk NAICS codes, use what we have here, use the resources that we provide. Remember, you don't want to give credit issuers and lenders any reason to say no, right? You want to get in front of all of these barriers that are out there. So, like I said, you don't want to give out one code here, you don't want to give out another code here. Everything needs to be matching across the board, okay? Make sure every time you write this down, I recommend keeping an Excel sheet if that helps for you. But that goes for all information across the board. I'm talking about your business name, your business address, your business email, your business phone number. Everything needs to be matching across the board. And I can't stress this how much. Make sure it is matching before you're out here applying. So remember the comparison process, guys. Remember that the business credit reporting agencies are comparing you, right? They're comparing you to others in your industries. Now, this is a big problem if they're comparing you to an industry that you don't even belong in, right? So following these steps is essential to make sure that you have a smooth transition, to make sure that you're not considered high risk so that you can get approved for the most amount of funding for your business. That's my time, guys. I hope you found this important. Choosing the right NAICS code is important because 90% of businesses fail just because of simple things like this that could be rectified in the beginning. So make sure that you're following the steps and utilizing all of the resources that we put out here that are available to you. And make sure that you're using them to choose the right NAICS codes. If you want more information like this, then go to the link in our bio. You're going to find more tools, you're going to find more resources, including your free business finance guide. This gives you a step-by-step blueprint of how you can start building and establishing your business credit. And if you got value from this training, then make sure that you like and share and support us so we can continue to grow, so we can continue to spread this information to as many founders and funders as possible. And make sure that you're giving us a call and getting your free finance assessment, guys, okay? We'll literally take a look at where you stand currently, give you your finance blueprint, let you know what financing options are available to you right now. And then if they're not available to you right now, we'll come up with a plan to help you get there as fast as possible. Plus, we also help you get all of your business credit reports in one place, guys. So we'll even do a finance qualification so that you can get all of the funding you can get right now. So to get that consultation, go ahead and give us a call or check us out on the website. Did you get value from this training? If so, then like, subscribe, and share so that we can continue to give you more cool free resources and tools to help you start and grow your business.